Hello everyone, my name is Bob Barboza and you are on Kids Talk Radio in beautiful Long Beach, California. I've got a very special guest in the studio today. I have Catherine Silver-Wallker, and she happens to be the president of the Cape Verdeans of Southern California. And Catherine attended a very, very special conference this week, and it happened to be the conference that was all about the 20 African First Ladies that came to America, and they were at a special conference. And Catherine, what can you tell us about this special conference that occurred this week in Los Angeles?
Well, it was the U.S. Doctors of Africa that invited African Synergy, which is a group of First Ladies, Presidents' wives and Prime Ministers' wives that have joined their efforts in the fight for AIDS and suffering for Africa. They were invited here to Los Angeles, to the City of Angels, to attend a leadership summit where they would be able to tell about their experiences and what's going on in their countries, different programs that they are doing themselves to help with AIDS, to help with educating the youth, and also to help with mothers. And also, U.S. Doctors of Africa formulated, or they actually created this summit so that they could be a resource to those ladies over in Africa who have so much influence over their countries.
Now, I understand that you attended all of the sessions, and was there anything that really kind of jumped out at you?
Oh gosh, there were several things that jumped out at me, Bob. The major issues that the ladies discussed that were going on in their countries were HIV and AIDS, the different diseases, tuberculosis, and different things like malaria, also infant mortality, maternal mortality as well, and also to educating the young girls, trying to empower the young girls to make good decisions, to get educations, to live a higher quality of life. Gosh, there was just a lot of things. One thing that kind of stood out amongst many things was the gender, the fact that there's a lot of gender prejudice that goes on in those countries, which is probably maybe one of the reasons why we don't see a lot of women active in helping to solve some of the challenges that they have. There was just a number of things, Bob. I could go on.
Well, you know, I tried very hard to get Kids Talk Radio involved in that conference, but boy, it went over the head of a lot of the gatekeepers. So, but what we're trying to do is we're going to try to do this little documentary in the hopes that we can show all of the officials that it's important to get kids involved at this level. Don't let this just be a grown-up thing. And so, you know, that's my pet peeve, so I'm going to get off of that and get back on my job here interviewing you. So, in any event, women's rights. You were attending all of these different sessions, and here are these first ladies. And in the past, these people would just hang around the castle, I guess, and that would be about it. But I'm noticing that these are some educated women, and they've got some ideas in their head. I know they don't have a budget. I know they don't have any power. But what's up with that?
Well, when you hear most of the women speak, you know, they walk around their villages or their countries, and they started noticing that, you know, there was a lot of things going on, and they felt helpless. They also had a lot of compassion, you know, for some of the things, the challenges that were going on, like AIDS, you know, and malaria and tuberculosis. Women dying early while giving child, you know, while bearing children. And, you know, they have a compassion for all that. We all do. I mean, everyone has a mother. And so they thought that, you know, they could, behind the scenes, really behind the scenes of their husbands, get together and start maybe addressing these issues and working with some of the women in their villages to try to, you know, overcome some of these challenges and find, you know, answers and solutions to make a better quality of life for the women there. One thing that, there was a guest there that was just very, very, she was just very instrumental, I think, in the whole thing, and that was Sarah Brown, who was the first lady from the United Kingdom. And her program, which is the White Ribbon Foundation, addresses a lot of issues that have to do with mothers dying while they're giving birth. And so she made a really bold statement stating that really the Millennium Developmental Goals really should focus on women having better care while they're giving birth to children, because if we don't, before you know it, there'll be nobody here on this earth. And so that was, pretty significant, and I think all the women seem to agree that really that was a basic root of all the problems, that if we could get women and children the best health care possible and it being actually their right, that really that would solve a lot of problems with HIV, with all of the diseases that we have, because let's face it, it starts at birth. All these diseases and all these epidemics that face the countries, if we don't have good health care for our children and for mothers, then it continues on.
Well, Catherine, I remember on the first day of the conference, you sent me a special email report. Mm-hmm. Could you fill our audience in a little bit on what your reaction was, right on that very, very first day?
Oh, gosh. The very first day, it was just amazing just to see the energy there of these women. Having the fact that they traveled thousands of miles away to here to Los Angeles to find out more information on how they could be more effective was just, it was just astounding. It was just astounding. Gosh, there was just a bunch of emotions that ran through my my body on that day. I can't even begin to tell you all of them. Yeah. But it was just amazing just to see that they had come all this way, almost like a dying man looking for a cup of water. It was amazing.
Well.